Alrighty, well, happy Thursday. Good to see you folks after, I don't even remember how long now. Apologies, it's been kind of crappy, but we're back, so that's good. Um, so most everybody got the project in. A couple of people had some questions. I posted on a Discord. Great. If you emailed, great. I think I got back to everybody. Honestly, the last week's been a little fuzzy, so but doctor said I'm checked out, all clear, all the viral stuff's gone. I just have a leftover sinus infection now because, of course, that's what I need. So I've got some good antibiotics. Thank goodness for modern medicine, and you know, a couple days I won't sound like this anymore. Hopefully, I don't know if I sound different to myself. I don't know if I sound different to you folks or not, but not feeling the best. But that's okay. He said I'm not contagious anymore. The rest of the family's mostly through it too, which is good. So it's been fun. So we had the midterm. Hopefully, it was easy, right? Relatively easy. Okay. No one. I think two people emailed some questions about it, which is great because I write them, so they come out super awkward here. One of them was slightly a trick question with like closing files, but I put a little note in there, like just always close them. Right. That's what we're supposed to do. Technically, if you're reading it, sure, but that's okay. So we'll take a look at those. Hopefully, that went pretty well for you. I've got to chat with the grader now that I'm back, but we're moving on to the final project today. So we got to make sure we get in groups. So we've got the people section over here. You can self-assign to groups of 3, because if we have more groups than that, it will just take forever on presentation day at 8 in the morning. Oh goodness, why 8 in the morning is awful. But 8 in the morning we'll start presentations. All the groups will present what their work is. It should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we won't have too many duplicates because this is rather open-ended. There's a fancy term that school keeps throwing around, project-based learning, and I'm quite fond of it, and I think it fits very well in CIS classes. Is instead of profs telling you, everybody do this thing, you all pick a project to work on, and you get to learn some stuff doing your project, which I think is super fun. I'm sure there's more technical stuff to it than that, but that's the gist of it here. So I'm hoping this will be a lot of fun. You pick something that seems interesting to you. So I need the groups, once you form, to pitch me your idea here, and we'll talk about, we're going to have certain deliverables throughout this next month, right? So it's the 27th. We've got almost a whole month here. Ideally, we would have done this Tuesday, but you know, I think 2 days is not the end of the world here for you. And then, you know, in 1, 2, 3 weeks or so, by the 16th, my hope is that it could be done for you folks. With 3 people working over 3 weeks, ideally you can get it done and out of the way, so your finals week you can actually worry about other finals here and not have to be stressing about trying to get this project up and done here. So what we're looking for, what I'm looking for, the class is looking for, is for you to find something fun with the Python library, some interesting, popular Python library here. Ideally, we got some responses back. I've never tried to survey businesses before. The D&B Hoover's database was new. It sounded like a pretty cool tool. And the library has all sorts of cool stuff we can take advantage of that you just don't often hear about. So I thought that was a fun way to shoehorn the library in because our library is fantastic. So if we didn't get a lot of responses back, that's okay. We can Google popular libraries. But depending on where you are in your stage of your college career and you're looking at finishing and moving on here, having a chance to have played with libraries that you know a company uses looks really good on your resume. And this being an open-ended project gives you something you can talk about if you get to the point where they'll actually interview you here. Like, hey, look, I did this interesting little project here using these libraries. And you don't even have to point out the fact that you know that they use them, right? That's a little redundant at that point here. But it can give you something you can talk about. Say, hey, this is what we've tried to accomplish. This is what I learned about it here. Honestly, being able to talk about how you overcame problems, how you're self-sufficient is really important. That's what we looked for when we interviewed people at my previous company. We assume anybody who's a developer can code. And honestly, some graduates couldn't, which was really embarrassing. But that's a whole other story here. But what we wanted to hear them talk about is what did they go and learn and how did they solve their problems? I think I showed you the silly t-shirt about Googling better than an average bear. That really is the hallmark of a good developer. And that's what will make you stand out, is showing that, hey, you can go and find more things. Because that's what we want here, because the industry is always changing. Right? There's always new tools, always new frameworks, always new hot things coming out that we want to keep up to date with here. I mean, sure, if you want to be a COBOL programmer, go be a COBOL programmer and just do COBOL forever. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But what we look for when we're hiring top talent is people who want to learn these new things, want to be engaged in the industry, see what new stuff is coming out, and have a chance just to play with it here. I think I was talking bad about vibe coding because it just irritates me here. But a guy that I follow on Twitter, David Fowler over at Microsoft, he's one of their principal engineers, super smart guy, really cool, said he actually had fun with it over the weekend, just building a throwaway project. And he's like, it should be okay to make throwaway projects just for the fun of it, because as a developer, it's just fun to build things. And I was like, okay, right? He's not saying he's going to build enterprise code that Microsoft is using vibe coding, but he's like, yeah, just a throwaway web project. It was just for fun. It's like, okay, if we're having fun with it, great. Here, like that was cool. Let people do fun things here, but not mission critical enterprise applications that people are going to rely on, where we don't actually know what it's doing, because that's just a bunch of nonsense here. So, excuse me. So you get in your groups and you'll come up with some libraries that look fun here, and come up with something to do that's more than here's how you get started with the library. Like, hey, TensorFlow looks fun. How do we do some machine learning stuff in TensorFlow? Don't just give me the getting started guide. Like, that's not enough for a project. Be like, okay, I want to do something with it here. It doesn't have to be anything crazy complex. Like, don't go for a big 1,000-hour project here, right? Like 3 weeks, 3 people. This class is 3 credits, about 9 hours a person per week. That's 27 hours times 3 weeks, somewhere around 50 hours, like a 50-hour project, right? That's the goal here. We're not looking for anything huge, but something, more than, a 12-hour weekend project that you just cram in and turn in because it's due the next day, right? Something that 3 people can work on. You can divide up some of the work somewhere. Here as we go. So with private repositories, you can add up to 4 people for free. So we should be fine for the 3 of you and me. We don't need to add the grader for these final projects, because you're going to present them on this final day, and I can actually score them on the spot, which will work out pretty well. Is that a question? I'll check with the grader and see. I know they had some access issues with people getting invited, but I think they reached out in Canvas after I talked with her about it. So just look to see if she left a note in Canvas about it. But yeah, I got to meet with her today and see how things are going. So you'll pitch your idea. I'll say yes or no. Like, yeah, that sounds like a 50-hour project. If you're going to do something too big, I'll tell you, like, hey, that's too much. Like, tone it down a little here. If you pitch something that's a 10-hour project, I'll say that's not enough. Right? So get your project approved by me. So with your group, shoot me an email. Right? The easiest thing to do that way. And I'll shoot you back. Okay, this is good. Sounds good. Work on it or not. So my goal for the next couple of weeks is show you a couple fun libraries here. We're not going to go super deep on them here, but the idea of how do we get started using a new library. Today, hopefully we can get TKinter done, so you can build graphical user interface applications in Python. It's lots of fun. I like things you can click on. Yeah.
I've never really presented a project, like a coding project. Is it like a layout I can look at?
You'll get up and hit run, plug your laptop in and hit run, and then show us what it does and talk about the cool stuff. It's like 5 minutes-ish, 10 if you really like to talk a lot. So just telling us a little bit about it. Everybody can say something here. Ideally, this is a good experience for presenting to your peers. Pretend like I don't exist, I suppose, but in the industry, you'll do some stuff, and ideally you'll show your team before you have to do anything big with it. You're like, hey, this is what I worked on here. You can get some feedback, that sort of thing here. So it's meant to be low stakes. You're just showing off, hey, here's a cool thing. Here's what we talked about. Here's what I did. And with 20 teams, hopefully we won't have too many repeats, so it shouldn't be too boring here. Not everybody's doing the exact same thing. We can all smile at each other at 8 in the morning here and get out before it's too long. So 20 teams times 5 minutes each. It'll take a little while here, but as long as most people don't go 10 minutes, we can get it done in our 3-hour block here, and it should be fine. So if you don't have a laptop with an HDMI port, then we got to figure out who can present here, or somebody needs an adapter here. I don't know how Macs plug in because they don't have a bunch of ports here because Apple decided holes in laptops are stupid or something like that. I don't understand them, but sure. I guess they make it too thick because everyone wants a laptop you can break really easily, right? All right. I forgot where we were. Yeah, Python libraries. So we'll talk about TKinter today. It's a really fun one. If your group just wants to build a silly little graphical user interface app, I'm okay with that. Right? It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to go for TensorFlow or whatever thing here. You can build a little GUI project, right? Build a little game or some sort of stuff. I always like games, but that's the way I like to lean. I'm not good at building games. I just like building games because I enjoy games. So I think that's always lots of fun. Yeah. So for today and then the next 2 weeks, we'll take a look at a couple libraries, try and get started here. Again, depending on which library you pick, versioning starts to get really awkward here because they need very specific versions of Python and very specific versions of their dependencies. That's why that virtual environment thing is really nice, so that this project is using this virtual environment with these settings here. You're not going to screw up whatever I'm using in my main Python install here. So when I fire up PyCharm, when you make your project, make sure you do your virtual environment. That's essentially a copy of Python that you can add all your libraries to. I don't even know if I have the repository here with this other laptop. Give me a second. Let me go see. This one. Open. Oh, I didn't. Okay, you may go clone it. So this interpreter type here is what is going to make a new virtual environment, this project venv virtual environment. Essentially, it's going to take this version of Python, and make a copy of it here. So depending on what version of Python you need, you can pick a different one, or you can go get that specific, hey, Python 3.8, 3.9, 3.10, whatever here, and to make the copy of that one for you here. Because not all libraries get updated as frequently as we would like to use the latest version. It's a lot of work to go update your libraries, and most of the time doesn't do a whole lot for you here. So, depending on how we do that, it can be a little awkward here. But I'll make my copy here, do it in this window. Right, and then you can either manage it 2 ways, right? If you just add your import, a lot of times it will suggest, hey, do you want to go download it here? If you want to be specific about which one you want to download, you can go to your project settings, the project interpreter, let's build, no, later, my goodness, project interpreter, Python interpreter. And here, this is the list of packages and what version they are. So this is where we can get specific versions of specific packages if we want here. Should be able to get TKinter here. My goodness, what is the TKinter? There's ways too many of these things here. Oh my goodness, which is the one I want? This is why it's obnoxious. TKinter. I just want the base one, right? No, Python. Let's just go to Google. Yeah, TKinter. Okay, is it already? Oh, okay, it should already be installed. That's right. Nice. All right, so you can just import it here. That's right. This one I think was built in. They usually rename this here. Look at that. We'll follow. Geeks for Geeks has some decent stuff if you don't mind all their ads. Here's our basic one here. We'll go steal what they have. Yes, they import it. People don't like typing long things, sure, but this is almost all the time I see people import it as TK. Super common here, so you'll see that. So we'll just go steal this here. And we should cite our source, right? Because this is academia. We give credit. I mean, it's a good thing to do in industry too, so you know where to go look up if you don't know if it's working or not, but we're going to be specific about it here. It's a little awkward here, but we take the TKinter library, create a new TKinter. Okay, then we are going to add objects to that interface. So this pack thing puts them in here. I don't think we need, yeah, okay, start the main loop here. This will just give us our label here. Oh, I never ran main. Goodness, yeah, I don't need a main function here because we don't need to do all that stuff. I'm sorry? This is just whatever version came with Python here. Yep. So we get a label with some text. It's a little small here, sorry. But you notice it's a window now. Look at that. And you can resize this window here, and it kind of moves itself around, which is fun. So we finally have something we can click on with buttons and an interface. There's no buttons yet, but we'll add some buttons here in a minute. That's not a console-based program. Yeah.
So TKinter is just a library that you make interfaces on?
Yep. Yep. That's the standard one in Python here. So ideally, we'll have time. We can build a little hangman game today. We'll see how far that goes. That was my plan here. I did one a while ago, but I'm not fresh on it here. The plan was to freshen up so I don't look stupid, but you all aren't surprised here. And that's okay. We're going to kind of Google as we go if we need to build this out. So it should go pretty well. So I think we've got, we want TKinter buttons here now. So we'll search how we get buttons. Oh goodness. If my browser doesn't die on me here. Text input. Look at that. We get AI input. We'll go back to Geeks for Geeks here. Why not? And we'll just add it in here, right? Because we're using more info from them. Not the most awful site in the world. Just their ads are obnoxious here, but that's okay. So we're going to get a text box here. The TK library.text here. And we're going to use that to go and get some information from it here. So you can get the input from the text box here, so that our input text right, is the name of our box here. .get will give us that information off of it here. So if we go and steal this one here, let's just go take all of it, I guess. Why not? We'll go. And then we have a button, then a print button, which is fun. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting here with Python and functions here. So remember, you can pass functions as parameters. Does that ring any bells? Right, the function itself is an object, and we can pass those objects. I don't know why their tabbing is so weird here. So when you make a button, one of the things you can tell that button is what function to run when you're clicked. So that's what this command is saying is, hey, when this button is clicked, what should happen? And we say, hey, the thing that should happen is print input. And print input is a function we've defined that goes and does something. So what we're shifting gears here with graphical user interface applications, and it's a big change for people who are new to this, is it's no longer a top to bottom program. We don't start at the first line, run to the end. Okay? What we do is we set up an interface and we just have to sit and wait for the user to do something. Right? Because that's what a user interface does. It just sits and waits for the user. We have to respond to the user's actions. So we move from being this top-down procedurally driven program to being event-driven, where when the user does something, that event needs to make our application do something. So in this case, the only event that we can handle is the print button being clicked. So when that button is clicked, when that event happens, now some code runs. And every time I click that button, some code is going to run. So again, it's the same function every single time, but that's what's going to happen. So when the program runs, it just sits and waits. Right? This main loop says, okay, go and show yourself. Now wait for the user to do something. In our case, the first example, all we could do was close it. There was nothing for us to do. No responding was happening. There were no events we were handling. So now we're handling this event where I can click a button here. So when we add multiple buttons, when we add text boxes and we add things for the user to interact with, we can handle each of those different items differently if we want to. Maybe we can have 7 different buttons for things and however we want to do this here. So when I run my code here, I get, here's some text box, I don't know, happy Thursday, and I click print. Now that code runs, right? This print input function runs, and it will go and get the text from the input text object here. This get says, hey, here's the index to, sure, the end of 1C, whatever here. That's probably fine. Like, okay, go get the text out of it here. And then we're going to take the label and we're going to change the text of the label, right? When we created this label, its text was blank. There was no text there, okay? So we can go change its configuration, say, hey, go change how you're set up here to put this text to be whatever this imp, this is terrible variable names, right? Like here's the input or something. I guess we don't want to use the same input because then Python will be upset with us, but imp. Wow, I can't say things, but we went and set the text. So if we wanted some other thing in here, right, we could add some sort of way of counting how many times you've clicked the button here, right? We could do that. So we could add in a variable for that. Excuse me. How we have like a click count equals 0. And every time we click the print input button, we'll take our click count and we'll add 1 to it. And then let's do a little formatted string here because this is obnoxious, right? Int, and then we'll say click count times. That might be a little bit nicer looking here. Oh, it doesn't have to define that above, right? Do I need that above? No, oh, these variables are gross. I want that. I don't want to have to pass it here. I want to make it get like the global one here. Is it global click count? Is that what I do? No. Oh goodness. I'm way too fuzzy at the moment here. I'm spelling it right. Let's see. And it's able to get the other ones here. Right? It knows what these things are. Click count. How do I add that in? I can't think straight at the moment here. Let's see. Let's just go Google it here. TKinter click count to button click. Do you think the AI can generate as good code? Oh, here we go. Stack Overflow, still a great site. I love Stack Overflow. Sadly, their traffic is going way down thanks to AI nonsense, but that's okay. We can pass it an event X. This one's TTK, that's fun here. Okay, sure. This is doing a custom bind. Well, that's fun here. Button 1 and the clicked handler here. So there's different ways of setting up how your windows look here. This one just uses the pack option here, which just throws it in kind of one after another here. You can put stuff in a grid format. So this one uses a grid to set up how we're going to be showing all these things in our window. Saying, hey, I want to put things at given locations in the grid. It should be, there we go. Okay, I just have to say global first. There we go. You don't use the event. Yeah, okay, that one's nicer here. Global, I thought we could do that. I just can't do it first. Global click count. Now I can take click count plus equals 1. I was close here. Not too bad for being all messed up here. So here's Happy Thursday. Print. Just clicked 1 time, clicked 2 times, 3 times, 4, 5, on and on and on and on. So we can have values for things as we go, which is fun. So we can keep track here. So I've got something outside my function. I can go get it inside the function. Globals are a little bit messy here, but it's not the end of the world at the moment here. All right, so we can get at values, right? As the main idea. So if we wanted to build a little hangman game, we could do that. So we need to get, let's see, we've got some text box here. Now that one's a little bit large here. We probably don't need the height to be 5. Maybe if I just height is 1 for that text box, right? We don't need 5 lines of input here. So that should change now and be a little bit nicer looking here. And we don't need the word print, right? We want this to say, I don't know, guess a letter, right? Guess a letter. And then we can check first, right? So I want to see how long their input is. I want them to only guess 1 letter at a time, right? So we can check pretty quick. So then if the length of the input does not equal 1, then we'll give them some sort of error message here. Otherwise, we can do something else. So we'll take our label, config, text equals, please enter a single letter, right? So I can guess like a single letter here, click 1 time. If I give it something longer, it says just guess a single letter, right? Seems to be working okay so far. So I need to pick a random word as we're going here. And I need a way to like reset the game, or maybe we can get to the reset part after as we go. Excuse me. So let's call this, we can set the title. I don't know if you noticed the title here, this little thing at the top here, text box input. It's not super important here, but it looks nice if you give a nice little title here. So let's call this hangman. And let's make this a little bit bigger here. So let's go like 800 by 400 maybe. So a little bit bigger. We've got room to print our gallows and print some spaces here as we go. So let's see. So we can add in, we've got our text box. Maybe before we, do you want the spaces above or below that? Maybe above that? And then they guess below that? I don't know if it really matters at this point, but we can pick something here. So we can add a label here. So this will be our, sure, we should rename this from LBL. So let's refactor rename. Oh yeah, just rename here from label to, how about message label? Right, so we know that's for putting messages out here. And let's add another label in above this one here for the hidden word. Hidden word label here. We'll add that one in. I'm sorry? It does. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Hidden word label here. So we need a way to get a hidden word. So we should be able to do something like that. Yeah. Now, we could put all the logic in here in different functions. It would work. Or we could build a class that does hangman and lets us have functions for that, right? The idea of, if we know what hangman should do, we can write a class that does all the hangman stuff. Right? Wouldn't that be a little bit nicer? Right? And then we can interact with it. So let's go do it that way, because that's more fun. So let's go add a new file here. And let's call this hangman. So we'll add a module here. And this can have a, no, it doesn't matter here. Have a class for hangman. Okay? So when we create an instance of hangman here, do we want to be passed anything? We probably don't need anything, right? We'll just pick a random word and get ready to figure out how many guesses we need and things like that here. So self dot hidden word world. I don't know why I want to type world so many times here. Or word to guess. I don't know. Word to guess is, I don't know, a self dot set hidden word. Can that be a function to set the hidden word if we want? It doesn't have to be its own function, but that's okay. Self dot number of guesses, or this is incorrect guesses, right? Because after so many guesses, you have hanged the man. What a weird game to play with children. I don't understand why that's a thing, but sure. I suppose it is. And then maybe we have a list of letters guessed. And that one probably, Yeah, letters guessed. If it's a list, we probably don't want to make it public because then someone can go and change it and modify it here. So if we make it private, we'll have that. So we've got the list of letters guessed, right? And then things that we do with this here. So we need the set hidden word. Set hidden word. Again, we'll go do something here in a minute, but we'll set word to guess equals something to start here. We can come back and fix this to do fix me or something here. Fix me. Define guess letter. Given a letter, right? That can go, hey, this is the letter I want to guess, right? So we'll take our self.letters to guess, letters guessed, append the letter, and again, we can come back and fix this thing later to do just sort of building out what I want my API to look like, right? What do I want the public functions to be? How do I want to interact with this? I don't have to have the code done yet, but I'm going to have the shell of it so I can use it in the rest of my code here, right? I can make a hangman, I can start calling these things here. And then maybe we have a game over or something. I don't know. Game over. That should be either they've hanged the man or they guessed the word correctly, right? So for now, we're just going to return false here. And then again, this can be a fix me. To do fix, all of these things are fix me's, but that's okay. We can go back and get those when we're done here. So what else do we do with hangman, right? Until the game is over, we keep guessing letters. I think that's the basic loop here, right? Now, what's different now is we're not going to have, so if we were to be a console-based application, we'd say, hey, while not game over, do something, right? With user interface applications, we don't do while loops. We don't have a while true loop because I only want to do something when the user clicks a button, and I want to do it one button click at a time, right? Once they click the button, guess a letter, I don't want to start a loop that says, okay, run until the game's over. I just, one time, I want to guess a letter and then see what happens. Yes, we're going to have to check, hey, if the game is over, we've got to do something with our interface to tell them, hey, you either won or lost here, right? It's a very different way of working about it here because now I'm event-driven, not top-down procedural, okay? But essentially, this is our game here, right? And because our hangman code is so good and wonderful, we want to put it into graphical user interface applications or console applications or web applications or whatever we want to do here, right? We want the class code to be independent of how we get input. And that's one of the things we've been trying to focus on here, right? The class shouldn't deal with input here. If it wants something, it should be an argument, right? You've got to tell me one letter at a time here. So in here then, right, we can make a hangman here. So we can say, hey, let's go and get a hangman. Oh, one more thing we need then, right, is the define get, I don't know, the hidden string or whatever, the display of like the spaces with the letters plugged in. I don't know what you call that. Maybe it's like blank, 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 or blank E, blank, blank, blank. What do you call that thing? Get display. Sure, I'll just say get display because you guys aren't helping at all here. So for now, we're just going to return blank here. We'll return a couple. We'll just blank, blank, blank for now. We'll come back to this here to do, again, fix me. Right? Got a lot of things to fix, but that's okay. So what we can do then when the game starts here, right? We've got our click count, sure, or we don't actually need click count anymore. We can get, should I leave this and just do another one here? Is this helpful? I think this is fine. We can get rid of this. This is not a very interesting example here. So you don't need print input. We don't need the click count. Sure, we've got some other things we'll fix here in a minute, but that's okay. So we can make a hangman, right? So hangman equals, or I don't know, game maybe? Game equals hangman dot hangman, right? So we need to, oh, look at that, even add my import for me. That was fancy. So this first label then, the text should be, I want game dot get display, right? Whatever the hangman game gives me, here's blank, 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 blank. I want to set that as my text, right? And then this little button here's guess a letter, right? You can go and do that. You can figure that one out. We've got our little label for messaging here. So when we click the button here, if it's not one, we'll say hey, enter a single letter. It'd be nice if our hangman game did that too, but that's okay for now. If it is a single letter, we'll say hangman we need the game, right? So global game game.guess letter given the int. Sure, maybe we should just call that letter. I like that. So let's rename this one to letter guessed. Right, guess the letter. And then I need to go reset this label's config here, right? Hidden word label dot config text equals my game dot get display. Right, we're going to go change it, whatever the display is now, whether or not there's a blank in there. Right, we're going to go set this thing here. We should be able to do that. And what do we want the message label to be? I don't know if we need to change that one or not here. Maybe we just tell them, you guessed. Or how about letters guessed, right? Letters guessed is guessed. There we go. Make that a formatted string. Game.get letters guessed. You probably need a way to get those back out here, right? So I can show them. Again, it doesn't look pretty right now, but we can do that in a minute. Define get letters guessed. Well, we have a private list here because I don't want them to be able to add to it or subtract from it here. So we're going to give them self.lettersGuessed copied, right? Do a little slice to copy it here from beginning to end. That way they can modify it all they want, but they don't change my version of it here, right? Making sure this stays private and they don't have access to it here. This will be the blanks and fill in letters here. So if it's a 7-letter word, I'll have 7 blanks. If you've guessed an E, it'll put the E in the right spot. So we got to figure out whatever that looks like here in a little bit. Right. So here's the letters you've guessed. Here's this. The format's not pretty, but again, that's okay. We could fix that later as we go. So that ought to get the letters that I've guessed here. And then we should at some point look to see if the game is over or not. We're not quite there yet, right? I guess we can check. So we guess the letter. And then if game over. So if the game is over, we do one thing. Otherwise, we do this thing here, right? So if the game is over, we'll take our message label and we'll set that to game over, right? We'll say, hey, game over. Now, we didn't check to see if they won or lost. Again, that's fine. We can add in that sort of stuff later here. But we're never going to have a game over yet because it doesn't work. But now we should be able to at least get some letters guessed, I think. Right? So we guess an A, we guess a B, guess a C. Oh, enter a single letter. Okay, C. Right? Sure, that sort of thing. So we get the list of letters. It's not the nicest thing in the world here, but it seems to be working so far. E. Maybe we want to uppercase these things here, right? Before we pass our dot upper, right? That way, if I enter a lowercase a, it'll automatically uppercase it for me, which is nice. Because remember, a lowercase a is not the same as an uppercase a, and that's just a mean thing to do in Hangman. My kids hated it when I was like, oh no, that was a lowercase letter. Apparently, that's a mean trick to play on kids. But they need to know that lowercase letters are not the same as uppercase letters, right? That's an important life skill. Okay, so we're doing okay so far now, right? So we need probably a set hidden word first, right? So we need some list of common words. List of common words for Hangman. Let's see if we get anything here. Juxtapose, mystique, that's just kaleidoscope. Holy crap. Quetzalcoatl? These are mean. Best Hangman words? Okay, let's go with hard. No, I want easy words. Let's go with easy words here. Dog, cat. 3-letter words are not easy because there's not enough to guess there, right? Like, all right, those are not helpful. In Python. Let's see, Bing AI, Python word list for the Hangman game. Here we go. Get random. I want the list of words here, right? Oh, here's not words. I'm going to give us a list of common English words in Python. Download a word list somewhere. Look it up. Thanks. Get a CSV file. Hangman word list. pypi.org. Hangman word list JSON. They can do local files. Like, there's a package for Hangman words. Wow, that's ridiculous. But sure. One of these is okay. These are not word.
They're all soccer players.
That's not Hangman words. All right, Google is like letting me down here now. Oh my goodness. Codespeedy.org. Here's my Hangman. Google 10,000 English USA no swears.txt. They have a file here for that. Nice. Oh my goodness. All right, look. Okay, this is better. CSS and HTML and JavaScript. Okay, I guess this is fun, right? We can guess programming kind of words here. CSS is a mean one, but that's okay. Let's go with it here. So here's common words. You return a random one here. Nice. Done. I'm sold. So we need to define my list of common words here then, right? We got common words. To set the hidden word is self.commonwords, random.choice self.commonwords. And we can import random. Import this name. Import random. Okay, import random. Common words, set the hidden word. I guess we don't even need a function for that then, do we? Like, that's a one-liner. We'll just, okay. That turned out to be easier than we thought it needed to be. Sure, this will work. Okay, so then we can pick a random word. The display then, right, needs to either be a blank or the letter, right? So we're going to have some result is a blank string to start, and then you can do this in a single liner. It just looks a little awkward here, being like that ternary expression. I like a loop. You'll find other solutions here, but that's okay. So for letter in self.word to guess, right? Letter in word to guess. So if the letter is in the self.letters guessed, then I'm going to take my result and I'm going to add to it the letter plus a space, right? Because I want to space these things out here. If it's not in the letters guessed, I'm going to take my result. I'm going to add a underscore, right? Add the blank. Okay, for every letter, it's either the letter or a blank. Right, when I'm done with this loop here, then I can return the result. Okay, so now we should be able to get a random word here. Oops, I don't want to run this one. I want to run main. There we go, run main. And okay, so it's some letter word. Sure, and as I guess letters, it should, let me do vowels here. A, E, I, O, U. Okay, it's not working. That's okay. I thought we'd get some vowels here. Y? Sure, Y. Y, no. Okay. Something must not be working right. That's okay. So are we actually adding the letter? Oh, we added the letter here. Yeah, guess a letter. I think that was it then, right? Guess the letter. Letters guessed append the letter. Display. These are all lowercase. We were adding uppercase. Let's take that common word and upper it. Now we ought to be able to guess letters here. Not run the, okay, run main. There we go. A, hey, we get some blanks here. Blank. Java. J, V. We've guessed them all, but again, we don't have a way to actually end this game here yet. But that's okay. We're getting closer. Well, our game over just only ever says false. We never fixed game over yet. Yep. So let's go do that. Right. So when we go guess a letter here, then, right, we need to say, okay, if the letter is not in self.word to guess, self. number of incorrect guesses plus equals 1, right? Just add an incorrect count here. If it's not there. If it is, nothing happens, right? It doesn't count against us here. So we need a way to get that value back out too, right? So we need a way to get, oh goodness, undo. Define get number of correct guesses. Return self dot number of incorrect guesses. Because I don't need the gallows bit to be part of the game here, because the game shouldn't know how to draw this in a user interface, right? The game just keeps track of the logic here. If we're going to draw the gallows as a little ASCII art for my console app, that console app that does the input and output can handle that. If it's a graphical app, the graphical app should handle that, right? The code logic itself doesn't care, right? We're just saying, hey, here's how many wrong that you have. Right, and now game over then is either we want if self dot, or really, we'll just do this a little separately here. So if self dot number of incorrect guesses is equal to, is it 6, right? You get the head, the body, left arm, right, left leg, right leg, 6. It equals 6, return true. And then otherwise, we also need to look to see if we actually guessed this thing correctly here. So then if we didn't do that then, right, so for letter in self dot word to guess, if the letter is not in self dot letters guessed, we're going to return false. The game's not over. If we didn't return false by the end of that, I can return true. Game must be over. Right there, you can do like a fun any and those sorts of like single liners here. That's super common, especially if you're using chatbot stuff. Right? It's like if letters guessed not in any or something. It always confuses me here. I'd rather just do a loop. But you can do it in one line if you like that stuff here. I'm just feeling lazy. So this should then finish out when it's done here, ideally, right? Either we got too many incorrect guesses or we figured out every single letter. Because if every letter, if we did not return a false, right, it was in the letters I've guessed. If I guessed every single letter, I can return true. So it should tell us game over at some point here. Stop. I want to run main. Ooh, 3 letters. That's a cat, maybe? Nope. Bag? No.
How would I handle if you guess the same incorrect letter?
We are just going to let you do that and fail. Yep, we probably shouldn't do that. It'd be nice to check. Make sure we don't repeat here. We can check that. So end that and say, hey, if the letter is in self dot letters guessed, we just return nothing. Just bail. Right? Nothing happens. We don't count it against you. We don't count it for you. Nothing happens. It might be nice to return some sort of message so that they know, yes, this was good or bad. But again, you know, it's not going to hurt anything. Let's try that again then. So I shouldn't be able to guess the same letter more than once, right? Yeah, nothing else happens, right? So A, B, E, I, O. What word is this?
Kangaroo.
Kangaroo? How did you guys get that? Game over. Yeah, we got game over. Nice. Now it'd be nice to turn off that button, right? Or to change what the button does. So we could either make this button change to be, hey, start over, or turn it off and add another button, or we've got options for how we want our user interface to do something here. Yeah, to restart the game. We could change lots of things here if we wanted, but we can get to that later. So we've got that part working here for Kangaroo, or if the game's over or not. Let me zoom that in a little. Sorry. I think that's all working okay so far. What else do we want to do here? Right, we get all of our to-dos done? And all working then? Nice. All right, so I guess we can do the reset. So, excuse me. If the game's over, right, do you want to reuse that same button, or do you want to set another button, or reuse the button? Okay, we can reuse the button here. So we want, if the game is over, then we'll take our, what is our button called? Print button? Oh, we should rename that here, right? This is, let's just rename it here. We'll just call it a button. Button. Take our button, .config, and we'll say, hey, I want the text to be new game. Right, going to be a new game button here, sure. And this is not really print input here. I don't know, let's rename this one to oh goodness, hang on. I think I rename handle click. Sure. So now we've got a new game button here, so that when we're clicked and we want to do a new thing, should we change this to, I think we can say command equals, and change the command to new game. So we can add a new function here, new game. So then we'll have global game equals a hangman, right? That resets the game here, right? And then we can put our button back then, right? To guess a letter. Guess a letter. We want the display to go back again to, right, to get display. Guess a letter. And we want this one to be, oh no, that one was guess a letter. Do we have a display? We didn't have a display. I don't know. What do we want? Yeah, enter a letter. Thank you. Enter a letter. Enter a letter. This one will say guess a letter, and then the command goes back to handle click. What do you think? All right. A, E, I, O, U. Uh-oh. T. Uh-oh, we didn't. Oh, we got one correct, right? C. Game over. And we have a new game button. New game. Goes back to enter a letter. Okay. A. E. I guess we should have told them what the letter was if the game was over, right? Yeah, we should do that, right? Okay, so let's go. Need a way to get the word, right? I suppose. Define get hidden word. Turn self.hidden word. Nope. Word to guess. There we go. Get word to guess is probably better, right? Get word to guess. Okay. So if the game was over, right, then we should tell them, I don't know, word was. The word was. So it might be a little silly, but that's okay. Game.get word to guess. Because if you got it right, we don't have to tell you, but that's probably, again, more trouble than we need to do right now. All right, so now we'll tell them what the word is at the end here. Java again. Hey, Java. The word was Java. New game. A, E, I, O. I'm terrible at hangman. U. Is this like giraffe or something? No. R. Oh, there's an R in there. There's like an F? No. T? No, wait. Oh. What? P? Printer. Hey, printer. Nice. All right, you guys are good at this. New game. Now we have to draw the gallows, right? That's the last bit here. That'll be the interesting piece here. So that's the only piece we haven't done yet. So again, I don't remember off the top of my head. That's okay. So TKinter, draw shapes, lines and circles. AskPython.com. Draw different shapes with TKinter. There is a way to make shapes. Look at that. You can make an oval on a canvas. Okay, so we need a canvas then. We have to pack that canvas in, right? Yeah, canvas pack. So let's go make our canvas in here somewhere, right? Probably after this one here. Right, we'll put this down at the bottom maybe. Canvas.pack. TK.canvas, right? That was our TK. Yep, TK canvas. On here then, every time we guess, we can draw something, or really I guess we should start with an empty gallows if we wanted, but for now let's just draw a stick figure, right? And we'll figure that part out after. So we've got a canvas, so we can make an oval, right, on a given canvas here. We'll steal this line here. There we go. And we should probably cite our source somewhere in here, but this is handle click. We should probably make this a separate function, right? To not put it all on handle click, but draw gallows or something. Should we do that? Define draw gallows. Now this would be nice if you just passed it the game, right? So we don't have to do this whole global thing again. And we already have it, so we can pass it from here. So we have the canvas.draw. I guess we need to draw individual body parts, right? So we'll say, hey, if my game.get get number of incorrect guesses is greater than or equal to 1, right? Then we can make an oval. Sure. I don't know where this is going to go, but we'll try it, right? Ovals can be circles, right? If you have the same x and y, right? So if we look at this create oval, what does this give us here? Is it telling us? Fetching documentation. Thank you. x0, y0, x1, y1. Oh my goodness, this is long here. Creates an oval with coordinates. So if we want to make it a circle, right, we probably want, I think that starts as a circle, right? X and Y, X and Y. Sounds right. Let's try it. So we'll call draw gallows in here then. Draw gallows. Oh, we have to do that before we guess the letter, right? I guess after we've guessed the letter. So regardless of what happens, we'll call draw gallows given the game. Because that way if I have a letter guessed right or wrong here, we'll put the little gallows in. If we have one letter wrong, method get number of incorrect guesses function call. There we go. Stop, run. A, E, I. I have to get a wrong one here. There we go. Hey, look at that. We got a head here. It's not really centered, but that's okay. We can fix that part later. But yeah, okay. Now we have to draw a body. Right, so the next one then would be a stick from there down. Now this is all pixel based, which is super weird here, right? Because 0, 0 is the top left when you deal with pixels. Right? We don't have the origin in the center. It's top left is 0, 0. So wherever that canvas is, 0, 0 was somewhere up here, right? And we went 80 pixels in. So at 10 pixels in to start, 80 pixels from there. So then if my game.get number of incorrect guesses, right? This is just messy, but that's okay. Oh goodness, is greater than or equal to 2. Right, then I want to draw that line, so canvas.create create line. There we go. So from x where, so I imagine this is probably what, the halfway point between 10 and 80. Is that 40, 45? I can't math right now. 45 sounds right. So from 45, 45. But that's the center. We want like down at the bottom here. So probably 45x in should be the halfway point, and then the y should probably be 80, I think. It's probably at 80 pixels down here, and we want to stay at that same 45x, and then y we need to go down, right? So let's go down a bunch of pixels here, like, I don't know, 180. We'll do outline is black, width is 2. Oh shoot, it doesn't like that. Unexpected arguments. Oh goodness, I gave it too many things here. Do we not give it an outline or a width? Okay, doesn't like outline. That makes sense because it's just a line here. So you should be able to draw hopefully a stick, right, for the body. Let's see. I should guess silly letters then, right? C, D, F. Hey, look at that. We got a stick, right? And then you do arms next or legs next? I forget. Arms? Okay. So arms then somewhere about here, right? So down some Y, right? So then, again, we're just going to kind of repeat this, right? If we have 3 incorrect guesses, then canvas.createLine, bless you. So still 45x in, bless you, here. Now, we want to go down somewhat from here, right? So maybe, I don't know, 110 Y. Again, I'm just kind of guessing here. And then we want to go, what, like kind of upward at an angle, right? Because the guy's like this, I guess. Or straight out. Is it straight out arms or up arms?
I did
Down arms? Okay, downward arms. So the X would be, so less than for X, right? We want to probably go out to 10 maybe, like the width of the head. Or no, you're wider than that, right? Maybe 0, I guess, all the way to the edge here? Sure. And then if we're going down, we need more Y, so like 130 maybe. Width is 2. Okay, and then I'm going to just repeat this for the next arm, and hopefully it works here. So same center point, but then we go the other direction. So we don't want to go to, we want to go to the right, so we're going to take 45 plus 45, that should be like 90 x then, right? But same y, right, to go the other direction. Let's see how the arms look. Z, Q, V. Hey, that's not too bad, right? And U. What do you think? Good arms? All right, and then legs, right? Okay. So then legs now will be the end here. So this line went to 45, 180 for the start. So this is, if it's 5 or more, we'll do 45, 180 for the start, and then legs should go lower, right? So again, probably to 0, and then lower than 180. What do you think, like 230 or something? Is that too long? Maybe 220? I don't know. We're making it up as we go here. And then if it's greater than or equal to 6, then we want to go the other direction. So again, is that 90, 220? Z, Q, I, oh, there was an I, U, there was a P, P. There we go, I can do like numbers, because we never did any checking to make sure we actually had letters. Hey, we didn't guess JavaScript, and we got our poor guy. There's no gallows yet, but we got to add that in after, right? We got a guy. Okay, we should have like a sad face too, right? Once they're hanged, don't you draw like a little sad face? They're happy until they die, or
I used to do that,
extra guesses is the face. What a weird game. So weird. All right, so if we need gallows then, right, no matter what it is, we've got a little line off the top of his head, right? So we want a straight line, right? The top of his head we said was going to be like 1045, I think. Right, so we want a canvas.drawLine from 1045, and then we want to go up a little bit here, right? So same, oh no, not, no, 45x, right, and 10y, up to 45x and 0y, maybe, right? Width is 2, draw, create line, not draw line, create line. Okay, and then we got to draw a line from there to the left. So from 45, 0, right, we go over to the left, maybe like 0, 0, right to that corner. I think you can do these either direction, but for some reason I like connecting the dots. I don't know if it matters here. And then we need a line down the left-hand side. So we'll go from 0, 0 to lower than the guy, right? So if we need to go lower than the guy, he's going to be lower than 220, right, along with 0. So we're going to go up to 0x and then like 230 maybe here. And then we need to go to underneath the guy, right? So we'll go from 0 to 30, oops, to x then is going to be what, all the way across. He was 90 across, like 100 across or something, and still y is 230. That should be our little standing thing. Oh, we don't get the things at 0. Our canvas, so we got to like stop at 1 then, right? Let's go to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Z. Nope, still didn't show. Shoot. Oh, is it not showing because the width is 2? Width is 1. It's still not showing. That's weird. Part of it shows, but not all of it, right? I guess we should draw the gallows every time, right? Game dot draw, or do we want to call draw gallows given the game? Right, because that way we get the gallows to start. Oops, that has to happen after we make the canvas, doesn't it? All right, so why are we not getting... I don't know, I like the width at 2, that was better anyway. 2, 2, let's try to change them all to 2. I want to see what happens. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. All right, now we got a gallows. Maybe we just had to move it in off the edges here. Canvas might be a little bit funky here. Q, R, V. We gotta guess numbers here again. 1, 2. Oh, because the arm moves all the way off to the edge here. So he's like hanging on to it now. So his arm shouldn't go all the way to the edge here. So that should stop at like 5 maybe. And 5. And then these should be like, what, 85 to balance? And 85. Stop, stop, stop. Q, V, T, uh-oh, Z, guess a single, I broke it. I hit enter in here. I think I had a new line, there we go. V, Q, C, Z, 1, hey! Yeah, we could move it all out and space this thing a little bit differently.
I just want to ask, does TKinter accept the enter as like a, you know how you're clicking for
So you have to handle that separately. So with TKinter text input handle enter key, there's a way to do that, but it's kind of obnoxious. Definitely doable. So we want this to be parsing when I hit enter. It was okay. This is based on an event. So where's our? We want that to be in the button here, right? In my.
that's how you use
The reply. Oh, this starts to get kind of messy here. Enter.get. The button. No. Yeah, that gets really weird. On enter function, when the enter key is pressed, there we go. So you're going to bind your on enter function. Explanation. Okay, that's nice. Bind the enter key. Where's the code for it though? Does this one give it to me? That's the one we already looked at, isn't it? Yeah. It's the button on click. Binding. Oh, this is binding the return key to your function here. Okay. It gets weird because like it's got to be in your window. Yeah, because you want it on the text box, right? Text input.
You can't be on the text box. Right?
I think there's ways to do it here. I've done it before. TKinter, this one, it in an entry widget. In the entry widget here. Yeah. Okay. This one here. So we've got the. That's the window. One is the window. I want it off the input here. Yeah.
Sure, you can do it like the way you did the counter.
Yeah. This one looks like it works here because it's based off of this input here. For your input, oh, you don't have to use the button, right? So you don't have to click on it. Here you can just type and hit enter. Yeah, this one looks like it'll do it for you. You combine the enter key here. All right. Oh, we are about out of time. So we got Hangman. It seems to be working. That's TKinter. Lots of fun stuff. So get in your groups, pitch me an idea right, before this week is out, ideally, so you can get started on it here. Again, 50-hour project or so. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy huge, but it has to be more than get a demo working here. And we can go from there, okay? Thanks, folks. I'll see you around.